Take a trip with us to Nilbog. Just promise not to drink the goo.
Oh my God.
If you get sucked into the Matrix, we will send a phone for you. Cause every movie has a plot hole, and every hole gets filled somehow with whiskey, wine, and blue milk. Just don't cut me off right now. We're the Plotaholics, a breakfast club of two. We're the Plotaholics, ripping plots apart for you.
Ooh.
All right, hey everybody, welcome to the Plotaholics Live.
Ha!
Your weekly dose of pop culture news nuggets.
Yep.
I'm Shane Wilson.
And I'm Bryan Tan.
We are
Plotaholics.
All right. So, Bryan, I don't want to say it was a slow week, but compared to some of the weeks that we've had, the news was at a little bit of a drip this week. So,
yeah. It has been a little less exciting in the entertainment world in some ways, sort of subtle ways.
Right.
Gentlemen, well, Mike, I don't know who the hell you're talking about, Mike. I don't see no gentlemen here.
Well, last week we had a lot of news, and I think a lot of that had to do with like the lead up to Memorial Day weekend, which is the start of summer, which is the start of blockbuster season, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and I listened to Will Smith's Summertime on the way to work today. So summer has officially begun in my head. I just have one more thing to do, and that's a part of our...
Yep, in just a little bit. So let's get into it. The big news, and this, I almost wish we had done this show last Wednesday instead of last Tuesday, because almost as soon as we went off the air last Tuesday night, the Vanity Fair article with the Star Wars set visit photos came out.
Oh man, those things look amazing.
And photos are fantastic. I didn't pull all of them, but I pulled the ones that I'm excited about. And so,
well, if you had all of them, all that awesomeness would just crash us. So it's a good thing that
I'm not
you don't.
Sure that a little bit that I have won't crash us, but
I'm sure it's gonna. I'm sure it's
regardless,
gonna.
Here,
we're hanging by a thread.
Let's just walk through a couple of these.
Now this looks great. Now here we have Finn and a new character. Not the young lady's name escapes me now. I think she's supposed to be Lando's daughter, but they're riding into battle.
Is that she is Lando's daughter. At Star Wars Celebration a few weeks ago, they asked her if she was Lando's daughter, and her response was, "Well, Lando has had a lot of lovers all over the universe, so it's plausible that he would have some kids that he doesn't know about," which is it's kind of an answer.
That's a spectacular no. Well, we also know from Solo that he also likes to get down with the droids. So
he's
Lando do anything that moves.
Yeah, Lando just slinging wieners and everybody.
Oh hell yeah! Hey, man, woman, animal, droid, it's going.
Yeah, this is Naomi Ackie, who is playing a new character called Jannah.
Okay.
So the actress is Naomi Ackie.
Okay.
And
so she's going to be someone else that the toxic, overweight, 40+ fanboys are going to whine about in the next year. Gotcha.
You know what was what struck me about her appearance at Star Wars Celebration, and it could be a misread of her. I mean, I don't know, but she seemed incredibly capable of handling that kind of.
Oh, I'm pretty sure she's going to be the one that like fires back. She's going to be the one that's like, all right, enough. Like,
right. And I mean, and you can sort of tell in the characterizations of the different people, like Daisy Ridley, like her retreat from social media is not a sign of weakness.
Not at all. She just
it's a sign of showing that she knows herself, right?
Yeah. What's the point in engaging?
Right.
Because they're going to do what they want to do.
You're trying to create the best stuff that you can.
Mm-hmm.
So and all of that is just a distraction, you know. So
right. And Kelly Trent, and you know what? I have to look up what her actual name is in Vietnamese, but no disrespect intended. But Kelly Trent, she was run off, and she actually wrote a very, very powerful co-op where she basically says, you know, these people made her question herself, and she's not going to do that anymore.
And you know,
So
look, man, this is what's really shitty. And you wrote a great article last week on Plotaholics.com about the toxicity of certain fandoms, and you specifically were addressing the Captain Marvel stuff, which has had a resurgence.
Which I'm actually planning on purchasing the. I don't know if I want to purchase the digital version or if I just want to wait for the physical version. So I have the digital anyway. But yeah, it's amazing.
It just feels like, you know, here these folks that are relatively young, you know, I mean, in terms of actors and actresses, and that they probably grow up just dreaming of being one of these characters, you know, of having a part in Star Wars, and probably never anticipating that it's going to happen for them, because whoever really gets to be in a Star Wars movie or in a Marvel movie, you know, and then they get the opportunity, they earn the opportunity, you know, to do this on their merits because they are great artists and great actors. And then they get in there and a bunch of fucking dopey, toxic dudes just attack them. For what reason, man? Like, you don't have a monopoly over this universe, right? Like, if you want a monopoly over it, then you need to go create your own thing.
Right. Well, not only that, and I've heard it said that one of the reasons why George Lucas sort of sold off Star Wars to Disney was to get away from the toxic fandom. And I tell you the truth, I don't blame him. I really don't.
Well, especially after the reception that he received for the prequels and I mean, we cannot ignore, and you and I are both writers, you know, we can't ignore that this world was his creation,
right?
And he's allowing us to step into the sandbox. You know what I mean? Like, and of course, like, it belongs to the consumer. And I'm a big believer in, like, once something is published, then it belongs to us. But attacks on people's real life character, not attacks on the writing or attacks on the world building or storytelling, like, that's just bullshit, man. That's amateur hour.
Yeah, personal attacks on family, attacks. Just it's stepping way too far. It's way too far.
And people just comb through the things that these people say, just looking for something to latch onto. And I don't want to go off on a whole, like, toxicity thing, because I feel like it's something that we're going to return to over and over again.
Oh, absolutely. I'm pretty sure one of us is going to be writing us something soon on it again.
Yeah. What I really want to do is talk about how beautiful some of these set photos are.
Oh, and they really are. And that lets you know just how powerful the toxicity is, because we're trying to, you know, we started this segment out looking to talk about how amazing these set pieces are and how excited we are for this film.
Yeah.
And the toxicity
immediately.
Yeah.
And of course, there's a problem with us talking about it, because when you talk about it, you give power to it. But I also don't know that there's any value in ignoring it. But
it's a slippery slope. It's a very
now this is probably my least favorite photo, but its implications have me the most excited.
All right, which one is that?
And that is this guy.
Oh, the Knights of Ren.
Absolutely, the Knights of Ren.
I am pumped.
We have heard rumors since The Force Awakens that the Knights of Ren would play a part in this saga. And to see them here makes me very excited.
Oh, absolutely. Because here's the thing. When Rey and Kylo were fighting in Snoke's chamber, I thought those guys were Knights of Ren.
Right.
At first. But it turns out they weren't.
Yeah. So the Knights of Ren, pretty pumped about it. It also implies that there is going to be some sort of a significant time jump in this film. You know, because in order to assemble this group, and it's interesting because Last Jedi picked up essentially immediately after
Yeah,
before.
it literally was immediately after, because the movie ended with her handing Luke his original lightsaber, Anakin's lightsaber, and then it picks right up. Yeah, screw this.
Yeah, we can talk a lot about that and how butthurt all those boys were about that too. But
And I'm glad. You know what? Sometimes you gotta throw the toxic fans a toxic bone and let them choke on their own crap.
we
Sorry,
will.
did I do it again?
Once the when we get closer to Rise of Skywalker, I want to do a Last Jedi podcast because
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's divisive for sure, and I understand why.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that it's a masterclass in subverting expectations in the right way,
Mm-hmm.
and also hitting the reset button. What I admire about Rian Johnson is that he spit in the face of
And that's brave of the
yeah, he
fandom.
spit in the face of 30, 40 years of fandom and said everything you know about this mythology might be wrong.
Well, the thing
Of
is
course,
that, but it's been implied in the prequels and in the original series. It's been implied that the Jedi were arrogant and wrong.
yeah.
And it was even implied in the expanded universe before the Disney takeover. That's why when Luke established his new Jedi Academy, he rescinded the Jedi cannot be married rule.
Yeah. Mike asks a good question about Rotten Tomatoes reviews. And I got to tell you, Mike, we have some news on Rotten Tomatoes coming up.
Absolutely. And
try to counter what has been happening there for the last little bit.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you something right now. And you guys know by now, I'm a regular viewer of the John Campea show. And the one cool thing that John Campea says is that he doesn't go on his show to make you agree with him or for you to agree with him. He speaks his opinion, and then it's like, let's have dialogue. But a lot of the things that he has to say, I think 90% of the things you have to say, I agree with because it's logical. And he actually has discussed this topic before. I don't know. Do you want to segue into it, or do you want to do something else before we talk about this?
Well, I mean, we're still sort of working our way through these photos. I've got a few more here.
Let's finish with the photos, and then we'll go to the Rotten Tomatoes thing.
Yeah,
that's really important.
Yeah, so here is I have 4 more, and we can kind of kick through them pretty quick. But here is
another new character.
This is, let me see, get to it in the notes here.
She's the bounty hunter, right?
Yeah, and played by. Do you remember? Do you know?
No, I don't recall. I'm so far behind. Usually when we do our live shows, I at least have some sort of prep, but I literally just sat down maybe 2 minutes.
And as you also know, I usually send notes and everything, and we've both been a little out of sorts this week. So no, this is Carrie Russell.
The Carrie Russell.
Carrie Russell as the masked scoundrel Zori Bliss.
Ooh.
So another new character, but yeah, played by Carrie Russell, and that costume is a real badass.
Well, they better treat her better than they treated Captain Phasma. That's all I got to say.
Yo, let me ask you this, man. Do you think that
Brienne of Tarth so bad?
Do you think that Captain Phasma is going to be back again? I feel like she's got to get her moment. You know?
I thought they said she was dead. She died.
Oh man, I don't know. Look, we got some like camaraderie happening in the comments.
Oh, nice.
I like that.
I love it.
Also, shout to Lauren Ferrier, who is just calling somebody babe in the comments. Which, I mean, hey. Go on ahead and get after it in the comments, guys. I mean, that's what we're here for, right?
Get down, you funky party weasels.
And Ebony is here. Felicity Carrie Russell,
Ebony, my good friend Ebony. Ebony's there. All right, yeah. Felicity's Carrie Russell. Dude, Carrie Russell.
We got a party going on in the comments today,
in the words of Wayne Campbell, man, she's a robo babe. Okay.
Yeah.
She
Oh well,
is
Mike. Well, thank you so much for bringing your people to the party, man.
bringing the peeps, lifting my imaginary crew.
Hey, everybody, while we've got you here, why don't you go ahead and hit that follow or like or subscribe button, depending on what you're watching us on. I guess everybody.
If you're on YouTube, hit the red subscribe. Should be on this side. There you go. Hit that red subscribe and then hit the notification bell so you know
Follow,
going
live
live
on Facebook, all of that stuff. We're here most weeks on Tuesday, and we're things a little bit different this week. But thanks for coming out and hanging out, everybody.
Absolutely, we really
we
appreciate
love the interaction. We love the interaction. Absolutely, Lauren. And goals indeed.
Absolutely, and ask your questions because this, we like answering questions and blah 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 and yada yada yada.
Besides, Bryan has to dip out at 7:30 tonight. But if we hit a vibe, man, like I'll ride it out by myself.
7:30, 7:45, whatever.
All right. Well, here let's. I
only live 5 minutes away from the mall.
Yeah. Hey, well, there you go. Here we go. Another Vanity Fair Star Wars set visit photo.
Luke.
And this shot, man, is beautiful. And we're getting into like the really, I think, beautiful shots at this point. Like,
can I just say how much this looks like? Did you ever read the Legacy of the Force series?
I did not read that series.
The Legacy of the Force series was when Darth Caedus, who is Jason Skywalker, Jason Solo, one of the twin son of Leia and Han in the expanded universe, which is no longer going on.
Oh, okay, yeah. You know what? I've read some of those.
Yeah, well,
but I was very.
That scene right there looks like the scene. I can't remember the name of the book at current, but it looks like when their battle actually ended up on Kashyyyk, and it was the first time that Luke squared off against Darth Caedus, which is who Jason Solo became, and they actually squared off. I think it was right after Caedus had killed Luke's wife, Mara Jade Skywalker. And it was then that he realized, I cannot strike this Sith Lord down, because if I do, I'm going to the dark side.
Here's my question about this scene, because it is lit and filtered like the flashbacks or dream sequences from Force Awakens and The Last Jedi.
And I think that's exactly what it is. I think
is this a dream or a flashback? It reminds me, in terms of like burning and the fact that R2 is there, it reminds me of that dream sequence that we got from Rey whenever she first touched the lightsaber in The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
So maybe we go back to that.
I think that's great. I think it looks absolutely amazing. I love seeing grizzled Luke.
I do too. Really do. And I love the way that his character developed in The Last Jedi.
I thought it was amazing. I mean, I love how we went from we got so much other stuff to cover, but I love how we go from being annoying little kid to super excited about being a Jedi to now he's been a Jedi, and it's just like not everything I thought it was cracked up to be.
We got to do a Last Jedi thing, because just the thesis of that movie, and we were talking in in private chat yesterday. We were talking about how much we like A Star Is Born, and
great film.
Every time I talk about The Last Jedi, I think about that Bradley Cooper song. Maybe it's time to let the old ways die.
Yes,
and that whole idea, and that idea just emanates throughout that film, and I love it.
Oh my goodness! Now every time I watch any Star Wars movies, I'm gonna maybe it's time to let the old ways die. Thanks.
Yeah, shout out to Jason Isbell, who wrote that song, who is a great songwriter.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So here, got two more for you. Here is one that has me. It has the little nerd inside me tingling.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Landmaster back in the cockpit.
Oh my goodness. Where is his? He should have some Colt 45 in the cup holder, man. Look how suave and debonair he is.
This dude he doesn't quit, man. He is always smooth as shit.
Billy D. Williams oozes machismo. You thought Razor Ramon was oozing machismo. No, man, that's Billy D. You wouldn't even realize Billy D was in his 80s.
No, this dude is still got it. And he was like my favorite part of the Star Wars Celebration panel on this movie.
I can imagine.
Because Stephen Colbert hosted it. I love Colbert, but Billy D just unsettled him because he just is like no bullshit, like just comes out and just puts the Billy D on him.
Well, Billy D, I'm thinking even in his 80s, he could just walk up to a woman and just go, "Hi, I'm Billy D. Williams," and it's just like, ah!
Absolutely.
Clothes just instantly are gone, and it's just like.
This is tangentially related, but I feel like one of the main things that Solo got right was in Donald Glover's casting of him.
Oh my goodness. He had to have been like, "Yo, Billy D, can I just hang out with you for like 2 weeks straight?" Just
what? I read an interview with Donald Glover about how he prepped for that part.
Mm-hmm.
And he did get to meet Billy D. Williams, and he said, "Hey, Billy D's like, I'm playing you in Solo." And he's like, "I just was wondering what kind of tips you have for me. Like, how can I get to be, like that suave or whatever?" And he's like, "Hey, man," he's like, "You can't prep for that." he says, "You just have to be that."
And that's true. And that's true. That's like going up to Prince and saying, "How do I get sex appeal?" And it's like, you just you don't.
And Donald Glover killed it as Lando Calrissian.
Goodness, he had swag. Now, granted, he wasn't Billy D swag, but he was swag. It was almost like I'm too young to have the full extent of my power swag. He was like at the Xavier School for swag.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he didn't get a chance to graduate with honors yet.
Yeah. Which brings me to another point that I like to make in my personal life all the time, which is we never needed a Han Solo origin film. But if they wanted to give me a Childish Gambino, Lando Calrissian origin film, I'm there for it.
Please give it to me. I will take it. I will love it. I will feed it. I will walk it. I will take it to the vet.
Yeah. That kid is amazing.
He is such a talented performer.
Oh, he really, like, everything he does is amazing.
Is it just me, or did he, every scene that he was in Spider-Man Homecoming, he stole it. It's like, why are you trying to upsell me, man? I ain't trying to launch people through time. I just want people to, stick people up. No. You know what? Please do not ever, and this is a Plotaholics rule, never mention Damon Wayans to me again. Damon Wayans is dead to me.
No, I think that he's talking about the other Glover.
Oh no, not Danny Glover.
Danny Glover, yeah.
Not Dan.
Yeah. There's a Damon Wayans bit in my 2019 fall TV preview coming up.
Man. Sorry.
Yeah. I think, and this is something that you'll read about, I think Damon Wayans Jr. is the best of the Wayans. But Damon Wayans Sr. and Marlon Wayans are both the generation where, like, there were too many bugs in the model.
Yeah. Well, Damon was my favorite Wayans on In Living Color. I loved his charisma. I loved his style. But now it's like, dude, what the hell are you doing?
Him and Marlon Wayans, man. Like, I think they live too close to like a nuclear factory or something. A plant. I guess they're not factories. Yeah. All right. Here's my last set photo that I want to show.
For you,
I am pumped for this scene. Oh man.
Oh, I hope it's the one. Yes, I knew you were my man. I knew you were. This looks. Oh, Daisy Ridley.
Dude, that is a boss bitch right there. Like, I can't,
dude, Daisy Ridley can kill you over the phone by looking at you.
I would line up behind Daisy Ridley any day.
Dude, Daisy Ridley could tell me that we're going bungee jumping, which I won't ever do because I'm afraid of heights. But I'll be like, I know you'll protect me, Daisy. Dude, Daisy Ridley is the truth.
Yeah, for sure. She's the business. She's the future.
Oh, absolutely. You know who I could see her playing? I could see her in the MCU. I could see her being Jean Grey in the MCU. And for me, or better yet, or even Lilandra, the queen of the Shi'ar Empire, I could see her being her.
I really thought that Sansa Stark would be a good Jean Grey.
But
I think she got saddled. And we don't know yet.
Shitty writing. She got set.
No. Yeah, I feel like that studio is just mailing in those movies at this point, and they're just trying to get it done.
I'm only going to see Dark Phoenix just so I can put the final nail in Fox's abomination coffin that they've been doing to my X-Men for 20 years. I hated the original. I hated the first X-Men. Hated it. I enjoyed X2 as best as I could. Hated Last Stand. Origins could have been so much better, and they ruined it. We're
gonna have to let you review that when it comes out. I want to look back at this photo because Joe is talking about it being on the old Death Star.
It's either on the Death Star or it's on the Falcon.
Yeah, they're clearly standing on some sort of machinery there, but
it looks like there's water around them. They might be on the Falcon.
Well, now in the trailer, you can see that the Death Star is partially submerged in a large body of water.
That's a good point by you. I can't tell. It might be the Death Star.
That would be I'm there for it.
Dude, I don't care where it's at. It's Daisy Ridley and freaking Adam Driver. I want to see it.
Okay, again, I know we're going
going to be Lauren, is Jean Grey in these latest abominations of the X-Men movies. She is Jean Grey.
Yeah. Did you see the SNL bit when Adam Driver hosted, I guess it would have been for The Force Awakens, and he did a sketch for Undercover Boss, and
I've heard of that. I've been meaning. It's one of those things. Every time I see it come up on YouTube, I mean to watch it, but I end up watching the Black Jeopardy episodes instead.
That one's amazing, but I promise you, if I could show you a 5-minute video on here, we would all watch it together right now. It is my favorite bit from SNL ever. It's so funny.
Wow. Well, I want to watch Black Klansman with him and Denzel's son because I hear they both steal the show. I just haven't had time. But he's another amazing talent.
He is. He's very good. And I like, I have theories about why they made him so emotional and things like that. And mostly I think it's because they wanted to give us a version of Anakin Skywalker that was actually well written. Because that was what Anakin's trajectory should have been more like. He was a hothead and Adam Driver's just a capable actor. I guess that's the biggest difference.
Absolutely.
So before we get all the way off Star Wars, some news broke late last week that a new project is in the works that Bryan is super pumped about. Bryan, do you want to talk about it?
Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, one of the, even still to this day, 16 years later, one of the greatest video games of all time. Shane, this game is what led me to becoming an Xbox man. Okay. I had no desire to own an Xbox. I was happy with PlayStation 2. And then I heard about this game and I put my pennies together and I bought an Xbox for this game. This is one of the greatest storytelling masterpieces in the history of video games. And I cannot wait. Honestly, I don't care if they do it as a movie. I would prefer a third video game. I truly would. Granted, I could probably just keep playing Star Wars: The Old Republic, the game, and get the
whatever. Now that Disney's involved and they're working with EA, and we're getting another storyline narrative Star Wars game in the fall.
Yeah, but what pisses me off about that is that it's yet another game that takes place in between episode 3 and episode 4. I'm so sick of that. How much of this crap are you going to put in that 20-year period? Enough. It's enough. I am sick of everything going on between episode 3 and 4. You know what? You got Rogue One. Leave it alone. That's enough.
I will say that you were talking about the books earlier, and my favorite Star Wars novel was Shadows of the Empire,
that was
which was a between, if I'm not mistaken, that was a between Empire and Jedi
Yes.
story, and that
Yes,
was
you're right.
that's an amazing book.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, my thing is this, and this is what makes me so excited for the Old Republic.
Which, as we know, I don't know that we've said this yet, but we should before you keep going, has been announced as a trilogy, a film trilogy. And today I saw that they announced the writer is going to be one of the writers on James Cameron's Avatar. So that is sort of where we are with the Old Republic stuff. So now you can talk about what you're so excited about.
Well, my excitement
not fire you down too much.
Yeah, my excitement level just dropped a little bit because one of the writers on Fern Gully 2008, yay. But here's what I love about Knights of the Old Republic. 4,000 years before episode 1. Do you know what that means?
No Skywalkers.
No Skywalkers. You can tell stories before it gets to the original series. And guess what? You don't have to worry about canon. You can finally tell your own stories, and it can be masterful. You can get as creative as you want because 4,000 years of history, so much can be done, so much can be forgotten, so much can be manipulated. It could be so epic. I mean, come on. Come on. Darth Revan is one of the greatest Sith Lords. And he was the precursor to Darth Bane, one of my favorite Sith Lords of all time. Oh my God.
This has been my beef with Disney's Star Wars.
Okay.
I don't mind that they've made a new trilogy that's attached to the Skywalker saga, but when they started making anthology films and these one-offs, I never understood why those stories had to be attached explicitly to the original chronology.
Thank you.
This is not Star Trek where you're focused on one crew. This is not Doctor Who where you're focused on one character. Like,
well,
this
even
is
Star Trek doesn't have to focus just on the Enterprise. Why can't you?
Well, right. But the first title screen in Star Wars is a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Yes.
I have to believe, because of all the planets that we go to and all the species that we see, that's a big galaxy.
Right.
Tell me another story.
Yes, please, for the love of God, tell me a brand new story. Because even Rogue One, it still ties into the Skywalkers. It still ties into that.
Why don't we get a Godfather remake based on the Hutts? When are we going to get like our Hutt gangster film?
Right. Seriously,
what about like a series? And we are finally going to get a focus on bounty hunters in the Disney Plus series,
The Mandalorian. Yes,
right. There's so many things. There's so many aspects to the cultures and the different subcultures in the Star Wars universe that have been touched on over the course of this 9 films. Will be 9 films, I guess 10, 12, whatever it is at this point, and all the television series and everything. Why can't we? I don't need to know how Yoda was born, or yes. I don't need an Anakin. I don't need an Obi-Wan Kenobi origin film.
I don't care about Obi-Wan Kenobi's origins. I could give a damn less.
So
tell me some other stuff.
This is where they fucked up in the Disney stuff.
Yes,
they got so attached to exploiting property that we already knew that they forgot that they inherited a rich universe full of stories to tell.
And they inherited, it's a perfect way to put it. They inherited this rich universe that has just been completely untouched yet. Come on.
The thing about most of these characters, and Solo is the one that I keep going back to. Han Solo is not made a better character by knowing his backstory.
No,
he's a better character with a more mysterious background.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think he's way better us not knowing. I would rather not know these things. I would rather have some things in mystique and in discussion among fans, or even in the books or something. I mean, because they touched on it in books. Leave it alone. I mean, Solo, I'm sorry to say, is among the weakest of the Star Wars films. And I wanted to love it. I really wanted to love it.
Which one are we talking about?
Solo.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
it was
because
fun.
well, I've said before that Attack of the Clones is my least favorite of all the Star Wars films, and Solo is only like a couple of steps ahead. Because I mean, the kid that played Solo, his name escapes me. He didn't do a bad job.
It
He
was
didn't,
fine.
but he's not. He does not. As much as Donald Glover picked up on the smooth panache of Billy D. Williams, that kid did not pick up on the Han Solo. He just
That was
didn't.
really it, and that was the first Star Wars film that just. Well, I mean, it was this, and it felt like this. It felt like a movie that had been pasted back together
Yeah,
by someone in post production, right? And we
right.
know that there was trouble, there was turnover in the directing staff, and all
Yeah,
of that.
and Ron Howard tried. God bless him. He tried.
Yeah, and he put together a movie that felt like a movie, but the seams were showing. If you look a little close at that movie, you can sort of see where things fall apart.
Yeah. Well,
But
not only that, but when Woody Harrelson, who's supposed to be a supporting character, out Han Solos you,
yeah, yeah,
and that was another mistake. I think if they would have got anyone but Woody Harrelson, it might have been a little bit better just for the fact he is too strong of an actor for
yeah.
a weak script like that.
You know what?
Of an actor.
This is what I want to say about Solo, and this is why it pisses me off.
Okay, don't hurt.
Because at we got a Darth Maul appearance, right? And Darth Maul,
Maybe.
Why did we waste a whole movie on Han Solo just to get to Darth Maul? Give me a Darth Maul movie.
Yes, show me Darth Maul and Savage Press trying to build themselves up to take on the Emperor, and him
because Darth Maul is the biggest premature ejaculation in cinematic history.
Oh my God! Yes. So much could have been done with that character. Oh well, why wasn't he a better Sith Lord? Because he was too low to Palpatine and he didn't want to touch the potential. Bullshit.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here with that. Like that is the strongest support for the fact that there was supposed to be a different big bad in the prequels and that George Lucas chickened out of it.
Yeah, he should have been the looming threat. He should have survived the first movie, and he should have been after that.
What we get, Count Dooku? Get out of here!
Come on now. As much as I love Christopher Lee, and as much as I think it's a cool idea that a high-ranking Jedi Guardian chose to leave and became a Sith Lord, I'm okay with that. But not Dooku. Why couldn't Maul have been that guy? And just no one recognized him. And then and then Anakin had to defeat him to really show how powerful he was.
Yeah.
But no.
We got to push forward, man.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's jump to the Rotten Tomatoes thing.
What time do you have to stop? 7:30, 7:45?
About 7:45-ish.
Okay.
So
all right. Well, we're still on target here.
Yeah.
A lot of Star Wars news this week, but we'll pivot because we have to give our boy a shout out here. Oh, Sonic the Hedgehog.
The movie has been delayed, folks, because of what you see in front of you right now.
Yeah.
Now, here's my
Sonic the Hedgehog O-face.
Sonic, he's a freaking blue hedgehog that runs really, really fast. How do you think he's supposed to look? He's not going to look great. Okay. Oh, you know what?
The only reason that I even keep trending on the Sonic the Hedgehog news is because I like to put that picture on the screen.
Yeah, we have to have an excuse to put that up. You did a really cool graphic of that face, too. Is it on the website still?
I actually posted it right before we went live.
Nice. I love that picture.
Facebook. So,
I love that. Awesome. I love it. But you know what? This movie never should have been greenlit. Whoever greenlit this movie should be forced to use sandpaper as toilet paper.
You know, the rest of their existence. About that is, I agree with you. This movie should never have been greenlit. But now that it has been greenlit, and now that the public outcry was so loud, now they're forced to spend a shit ton more money fixing it.
This is going to be the biggest box office bomb of all time. It really is.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I think they should just give the guys from Riff Tracks the rights to it and just let them riff it on opening weekend.
Or
That's the
just
only
let
way
us
to
do it.
get people in the seats.
Or let us do it.
Yes, please.
You know what? I want to go see this movie just so I can see how bad it is. I want to see if it's Blue Chips starring Nick Nolte and Shaquille O'Neal bad, or is it Aragon the movie bad? It never gets old.
It just doesn't. It is my favorite thing that has that's been on the internet since we've started doing this.
Absolutely.
So
It makes me wonder, what are we going to have next year?
Right. What's going to replace the Sonic O-Face?
Oh my God.
I just want to give a quick nod here to the impending release of Swamp Thing.
Every time I hear Swamp Thing, I think back to Swamp Thing Returns with Heather Locklear and the Creedence Clearwater revival back on the bayou playing over the opening credits.
This series doesn't look terrible, honestly. The problem is I just don't know who's going to watch it.
I'm not, because I ain't getting DC. I'm not getting a DC exclusive streaming service, and it's going to end up dying anyway because Warner Brothers is going to come up with a streaming service, and they're just going to combine the two. So what's the point?
That's the thing is one of these other studios has to absorb DC Universe like Disney Plus is absorbing Marvel, right?
Right.
That's the only way this thing is going to survive.
You know what? Let Netflix.
That's the only way anybody's going to watch it.
You know what? Let Netflix absorb it, and then that way Netflix can replace what they lost with Disney and Marvel and go from there. Yeah, and the CW. Let them do it.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you something right now, and you guys are going to see this in one of my upcoming articles. I'm actually going to be reviewing the new Netflix original film. What the hell is that movie called? I want to call it Above the Rim, but that's not what it is.
Salt on the Rim?
Hold on. See,
Netflix presents The Rim Job?
Probably. Let me see here. Netflix's yeah. It's just when you kiss someone with just the rim of your mouth, you know. So come on and give your dad a good night rim job. Come on,
Rim Job, an underrated children's book.
Oh, absolutely, it is. that seriously makes me want to watch National Lampoon's Vacation again, the remake. It really does. Oh, where the hell is it? It was just all over my my Netflix before, and now it's not there. This is what happens when you're running late to get the show started.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You're going to write an article about
Camp Rim something or whatever. It's about teenage kids. Rim of the World. That's what it's called. Rim of the World.
You sent the title of this to me.
Yes, I did. But basically, it's about 4 teenage kids at a summer camp that are in the face of an alien invasion. It's actually not too bad. I really enjoyed it, but I'll be writing up the review for that. I don't even know how I segue to that. Oh, because Netflix does need some additional content, and they are going to have to compete with Disney Plus. So I say, Netflix, take some of that money that you have, partner up with DC or Warner Brothers or whatever, absorb the DC universe, and start giving us some content there. Because I'm sorry, the DC animated films are better than the live action movies. Keep giving us animated stuff.
You know what DC... It feels like that DC Universe thing is more poised to be an add-on channel for Amazon Prime.
I can go with that
because and you wouldn't even have to charge very much for it. But Amazon Prime
$2 a month.
Yeah, Amazon Prime is in the business now of adding channels because they've done Shudder and a couple of other things, and that seems like a good business model for them to add more content and a way for DC Universe to have more life.
Well, see, Amazon is also getting really, really good because they're in a great point in a position where they are the primary distribution for a lot of stuff. So they can, put this stuff out there and stream it with no problem. And all they can say is, well, if you don't want us to, fine.
Joe,
yes, they are going to go away.
Yeah, what we said last week, that they are not going to renew the contract with Netflix because, and this is another problem for DC Universe. If the CW wants to launch its own streaming platform and it wants to keep all of those shows away from DC Universe, then there's a whole chunk of DC content that's not going to be on DC Universe.
No, it's all on the CW app, and the CW app, I just hope they keep that for free. Although with Supernatural ending, if they don't, I'm not going to be sad because I only went to the CW app for Supernatural. I used to keep up with Black Lightning, but I've just started to lose interest with a lot of the DC properties in general. Netflix,
Yeah.
no, Netflix doesn't have that, Mike, because I can tell you
because
that
they have
now.
a ton of the CW shows.
Yeah, they do. They have a ton of those CW shows that are all DC based, and plus, part of the reason why Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Daredevil have ended is because since Disney is doing that Disney Plus, and they basically told Netflix, yeah, we're pulling out of all this stuff. Netflix got pissed off and said, well, you know what? Fine. So it was really mostly Netflix's decision to cancel those Marvel shows. So it is what it is. But the one thing, and Mike brought this up a little bit ago. Yeah, I'm not happy about it either, but I was hoping they would go to season 20 before they ended.
Yeah, and Joe, Arrow, I think, ends next year.
Next season is the final season for Arrow. I hope they get ready to end the Flash, because the Flash had so much everything, and then it's just started to go off the rails as well. I hear Legends of Tomorrow is actually the stronger show now, which is weird because
I think the unsung hero of the DC, I think the unsung hero of the CW lineup is that chick that plays Supergirl. I think she's awesome.
What's funny is that I was into that at first, and I don't want to, when I say this, before I say what I'm going to say, I do want to say that everyone who knows me knows that I'm a big supporter of LBGTQ. I'm a big fan. You know what, man?
You're clearly very good at saying those letters.
I'm terrible with all the letters. You know what? People that identify as anything other than straight. Let me just say that. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful, but I mean, the LGBTQ plus community, I am a huge supporter of. I am an ally of. I will go to bat for anyone that I know personally in the LGBTQ plus community. Yeah. However, with that said, I felt that Supergirl shoved the romances and all that so deep down our throats that it's like they put it in my throat until it tickled my freaking O-ring. And that
goes to a point that you mentioned last week, I think, about how the sexuality of these characters isn't that important to you. You just want to watch them kick ass. And there's something to be said about like developing these characters as human people with human relationships.
Right.
But also you can tiptoe into the world. You can tiptoe into like preachy territory.
And that's what they seem to do. And that's when I have a problem. I'm all for everyone having representation. I feel that that's what comics are about. All inclusion. That is what comics are about. And all those comic fanboys that sit there and bitch and moan and wail and complain about comic movies. They're going to be Justice Warriors. You know what? Okay. That's what comics have always been about, is inclusion of everyone. I'm all for it. But when you start getting overly preachy to the point where every single episode I watch, you are shoving this down my throat.
Well, I think I think that what we have to remember with those shows especially is who the target audience is. And the target audience is teenagers for a lot of those shows on the CW.
Yeah, that's true.
And for teenagers to be able, especially teenagers that identify as LGBTQ, like those to see those characters portrayed in a popular show like that, I think is important. And they are also not going to, and younger viewers are not always going to pick up on the subtleties of human relationships like you and I would necessarily.
Oh yeah, I can understand. You know what? And you're right about that. And maybe I'm a little bit too. Maybe I'm feeling a little bit too heavy-handed about it. I'm not saying that.
I haven't watched a ton of Supergirl, so I don't really know how heavy-handed it gets. I know that it has a hard time because I've seen some of the episodes that take on topical social issues, and like the police brutality episodes and things like that. And they definitely, that program has a hard time living in an ambiguous space. Like it definitely comes down on a position, you know, and that can feel heavy-handed sometimes.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. And you know, the one great thing, and I've said this before, and I think a lot of great show hosts will say, you don't have to agree with my opinion, but if you disagree, we can have healthy and open dialogue.
Yeah.
So, but with that being said,
I mean, the long and short of this thing is that no one's going to watch Swamp Thing.
No, probably not. No, sorry. And I'm a big fan of Derek Mears. I think that he was great as Jason Voorhees in Freddy versus Jason. Was that him? Yeah. And you know, but I'm sorry, man. It's just not going to happen.
I think maybe DC's just generating a lot of content for an eventual sellout.
Yeah, I can go along with that.
Yeah, and they've got the money to do it. I mean, their movies make money even if they're shitty. So
yeah, that's true.
And some people are going to subscribe to DC Universe. Some people already have.
Some people have because they wanted to watch Teen Titans, and God bless them, man. I do want to watch some of their content. I do, but I'm just it's not important enough for me to spend money on. I'm happy with my Netflix, my Hulu, and my Amazon, and I'm not giving up.
Here's something that you are going to spend money on, Brian, and I will let you talk about it because you are super excited, and that is.
Oh man. Oh, well, here's the thing. The trailer I was excited for it. I thought it was great. But one of my first questions was, where the hell is John Connor? Where's John Connor? But you know what? Linda Hamilton is back. I am so excited. I'm not going to say the first mother of sci-fi because that is Sigourney Weaver. But absolutely. I mean, oh my God. Welcome back, Linda Hamilton. Oh my God. And she looks amazing. She looks as badass as she did in Terminator 2 Judgment Day. You know, Lena Headey, you did great as Sarah Connor in the Sarah Connor Chronicles. I still say Fox canceled that too quick, but bow down to the original. Sorry, Cersei. Sarah is back in town. Woo!
There you go.
And
that was a nice little quotable phrase that you had there.
Thank you. I'm excited.
But yeah, I mean,
Gabriel Luna's playing the Gabriel Luna, aka Ghost Rider in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., is the Terminator, and he looks fantastic. This looks amazing. It's like finally Terminagenesis can be forgotten. And she does look jacked. And you know what? Thank God in this trailer they didn't spoil the movie like they did for Terminator Genesis.
When is this film being released?
That is coming out in November, sir.
Well, they've got plenty of time to ruin the movie then.
Yeah, that's true. They do. They really do.
But
but I'm excited. Good. It does. It's very action-packed. It has me asking questions, and I want to ask questions. I don't want to know where John Connor is. I want to go see the movie. I want to be surprised. Trailers do not need to ruin the movie. It doesn't need to spoil.
Take a page from the Russo's playbook.
Yes.
Marketing films.
Yes, absolutely. Because Endgame's trailers had you excited. They had you anxious, and they didn't tell you.
They didn't spoil anything. Yeah,
exactly. So kudos to the team for Dark Fate. Kudos to you, friends.
Yeah. We are starting to run out of time, so I'm going to breeze through the next story so we can get to the coming attractions.
All right, let's do that.
And that's something that Mike brought up earlier.
About time. Fandango does this. And now the whole point of it is this. A lot of people have been trolling Rotten Tomatoes. They did it with Captain Marvel. They did it with Wonder Woman, Man of Steel. People that are going to Rotten
Last Jedi.
They did it with Last Jedi as well. People are going to Rotten Tomatoes. They haven't seen the movies, and they're giving them negative reviews. And it's bullshit. This is more troll, toxic fandom culture. These idiotic assholes that have nothing better to do. You know what? You dickheads, and I'm looking right at you. I hope you see that I'm looking right at you. Get a fucking life. Okay.
Right. And at least now it's going to cost money for them to be assholes, right?
Now, And Fandango does this too, because I usually I'm either ordering my tickets online either through Fandango or through Cinemark. And
Well,
before
Fandango owns Rotten Tomatoes.
yes,
So,
and they do this on their app. When you buy a ticket, you cannot leave a review and they actually know the running time. So from when the movie starts to the movie ends. After that, then you can leave a review of the film.
So they're just going to move that same technology over to Rotten Tomatoes because they are owned by the same company.
As they should. So that way, if you're going to leave a bullshit review, I shouldn't say that. If you spent the money, you go see the movie and you don't like it, fine. You have an opinion. But if you have not spent money on it and you just hate Brie Larson, so I'm just going to slam her film. Bitch, if you ain't seen it, shut your damn hole.
Yeah. I'm with you 100%, and you know that.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about this. All right, let's get to it. Coming attractions.
Opening this week. Coming to the movies. Coming to the movies. Go and get your popcorn. Gonna have a good time. Hey.
I was tempted to just let it run. Honestly, I was like, "How long will he keep singing about things that happen at the movies?"
Don't get Coca-Cola.
All right. Well, we've chosen 3 films, 3 of the big ones that are coming out this weekend, and I'm excited.
I'm not as excited as I have been over the last few weeks, but I'm still excited.
Yeah, so we got Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Rocket Man.
No real interest. Interested. I'm sorry, I didn't get into the Godzilla. I didn't get into the monster movies, the kaiju movies. I didn't really get into them as a kid. It's like
I will tell you that I am very excited for Godzilla.
And that's cool. I mean,
man. You'll get my review of Godzilla probably on tomorrow night. I'm going for the first available showing.
Nice.
So I'm going in, and actually, like, that review will probably air next week. But tomorrow, you will get an article from me on Plotaholics.com about what Godzilla meant to me as a child and why it's such an important thing in my creative life.
Well, you know what killed Godzilla and all that for me was the Son of Godzilla and that atrocious Matthew Broderick film. Those killed. Because I enjoyed the original Godzilla. I enjoyed the original King Kong. I enjoyed the remake of King Kong in the 70s when he's on the World Trade Center. I thought it was great. But then it was just like, all right, enough.
I love these movies. I loved all of the shitty Japanese versions of Godzilla. I grew up watching them. I don't know. It just tickled a part of my brain that I was like really into, you know?
Oh, no, Godzilla!
Right, yeah. Yeah, you know who would make a really good terrified citizen of Tokyo in one of those movies?
Who? Ha yeah. I can see it. But I mean, it's cool. And now when they do King Kong versus Godzilla, I'll probably go see that.
Yeah. So, they're creating the MonsterVerse, right? Just like they have extended universes and everything. And so the next film will be the Godzilla versus King Kong.
I love them singing honeys, though, man. I'll tell you that much. Them singing honeys were, man.
I'm pumped for Godzilla, even though it has received mixed reviews.
It's not. Yeah, they're. But then again, these movies aren't about. They're not gonna be the next Citizen Kane. They're just. It's wanton destruction and chaos.
Real. And I just want something that I can follow. Like I don't want a Transformers movie, right? I just want to watch big monsters beat the shit out of each other, but I want to be able to follow it.
I'm cool with that. I'm cool.
And I'm with you, man, on Rocket Man. Not really something that I'm dying to see.
Not at all. Sorry.
I've had. It's been the year of the music biopic, I guess, but I'm just like kind of over those.
I'm biopicked out. I'm done.
Yeah, honestly, since A Star Is Born came out, I didn't want any more music movies for the year because you're just not going to beat Gaga and Cooper, you know?
No, and I mean, even Bohemian Rhapsody, I mean, it was fine, but you know, I mean, I've just purchased it and I watched it again, and it's like, you know, it's cool, but you know, okay, fine. I kind of wish I would have just gotten A Star Is Born.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we did get A Star Is Born. And I, like I said, I don't know. I mean, it looks like it's well cast.
Yeah,
and
it's nothing against Elton John. You know,
right.
I think his music is great. He's definitely a legend in the industry. The first time I knew who Elton John was when he did That's What Friends Are For with Gladys Knight, Dionne Warwick, and Stevie Wonder. And then I learned about his music after that. So it's nothing against Elton John. It's just I don't care.
Well, that I don't know, man. Like since Ray and the Johnny Cash biopics, like those are the ones that set the standard. And I just don't know that anybody. Well, those and the John C. Reilly masterpiece, Walk Hard.
Walk Hard.
It's hard to beat those three.
Honestly, I will not go to see another musician biopic until they do Prince.
Yeah, and it depends on who they cast for it.
Yeah, it depends on who they cast. It's Prince or the Jacksons. Now, granted, we already got a Jacksons biopic in the.
I would go see a Bowie film.
A who?
David Bowie. I would go see that.
See, I was never that into David Bowie, so
it's just an interesting cat. You know, I mean, for the same reasons that Prince. You know, it would be interesting, but but it's not something that those are movies that I'll watch on Netflix. You know,
exactly. I'll wait. Yeah, I'm not going to trip over myself to go see Rocket Man.
Yeah, but we can talk a little bit about Ma, which
now
you just
Ma
saw
looks amazing. Yeah, I didn't even know anything about this movie when I went to go see Brightburn. I saw this trailer, and oh my God, Octavia Spencer. Oh my goodness, this woman, we need to get her in more films, please. This looks so amazing. And she even had a scene with Luke Evans, the younger Shaw the Lesser from the Fast and the Furious. Which one was it? 6, 12, 32 Hut. But she had a great scene with him that was in the trailer. She has so much presence and charisma, and she's creepy. I haven't been this creeped out by an adult. Well, by an adult
just
character,
a normal ass woman. Like,
well, the problem is with trailers is that they give away so much in the trailer. But it's a good trailer. I'm excited for it. I may not go to see it this weekend because I feel like I'm starting to get I'm not movied out, but I'm theater out.
Yeah.
Like I might go see it on Sunday if, you know, Sharon won't go to see it. I'm surprised I got her to come see Brightburn with me, to be honest. But
what did she think of that?
Basically,
go ahead and answer.
All right. So basically, Mike, the premise of the movie is there's these high school kids that are looking for a place to party, and they see Octavia Spencer outside of a liquor store, and they ask her to buy the booze for them. She agrees, and then she offers her home for them to party at. And then she tells them to call her Ma, and her Ma's place becomes the place to party. Unfortunately, she gets a little bit creepy. And then what everyone thought was a nice lady, it turns out to be their worst nightmare. And like I said, it looks really, really amazing. You know, Octavia Spencer, and this is the first time, Shane, I don't know if you knew this, but in a horror movie, this is the first time we've had a black female lead in a horror film in horror movie history.
Well, a black female lead
as the lead antagonist.
As the lead antagonist. Well,
yes.
Did you see Us?
Yeah, but I mean that's different. That's not the same premise to me. I mean, I get you. I get what you're saying.
Well, because it feels like this is going to be a slasher type film, like in that, like in the 80s vein of like serial killer slasher, like teen slasher movie.
Right.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
And that's how I feel. Us Us is a totally different animal to me.
Yeah.
As far as how all that goes. But from what I haven't seen the movie, but I hear it's very well done and with the leads in it. I feel like it's gonna be great, and this is gonna be a film that I'm gonna pick up when it comes out on home media.
Yeah,
but Ma is gonna be great. I'm very excited, and this is gonna be one of those films that flies under the radar, I think, because it's opening in between. It's opening between Endgame, John Wick, and Spider-Man: Far From Home, and Hobbs
opening
and Shaw.
with Godzilla. It's opening
With Godzilla after Brightburn.
What was it last weekend?
Aladdin, Booksmart, and Brightburn.
Yeah, well, Aladdin was the big one last weekend. That was the big story last week. Aladdin made a shit ton of money.
Yeah, it really did. And deservedly
nostalgia wins again.
Absolutely, and we're actually going to be doing a review video of Aladdin coming up. Check our listings on that. And I'll tell you something right now, man. Aladdin, I was pleasantly surprised by Aladdin, but right now, man, these few minutes, man, they belong to Octavia Spencer. Ma is going to be gold. Sure. If you like,
I think it will be, and I think that Ma, the movie, is probably going to find a great deal of success because of Octavia Spencer.
Absolutely, because she is such a great actress. She's a great actress, and she's very
she can act the shit out of anything. So.
Oh, absolutely, and she's a likable person. Like Monique was in Precious back. This is like 10, 12 years ago. Precious was a good film, and Monique was amazing in her role as Precious's mom. But unfortunately, Monique doesn't really have that likability that Octavia Spencer has.
Yeah, and Joe, I completely agree.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen Booksmart yet. I plan on going to see it.
You will hear all of my thoughts on Booksmart probably next Tuesday during one of the review videos. But let's see. Let's start wrapping things up here.
Yeah,
just want to tell everybody that this particular live program will not happen for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah,
but there will be video programming in its place.
Yep. Shane's going on the holiday road.
Yeah, right. Yes. And so for the next 2 Tuesdays, you'll get different video programming pre-recorded, but it'll still be very good. On the other side of that, well, actually, we should go ahead and say on Monday, you will get the next episode of the Plotaholics podcast. That is the 1987 classic, ? Masters of the Universe.
Starring the Dolph Lundgren.
Yes, the Academy Award ignored Dolph Lundgren.
For good reason.
So that is an excellent episode of the Plotaholics podcast. You will want to subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you get your podcasts.
YouTube as well, because it will be going up on the YouTube page as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Make sure that you follow us here on Facebook or Twitch. Not on Twitch. We're not on that yet.
No,
Facebook or Periscope or YouTube, wherever you're watching us right now, hit the subscribe button or the follow button. And after, let's see, it looks like around June the 17th, we will be kicking off the Summer of Cusack.
Oh, man, this is going to be great. 5 films starring the 80s himself, John Cusack. We start with Shane's favorite movie of all time, High Fidelity, which I watched this past weekend, and I look forward to watching again for when we do our High Fidelity episode. That's going to start the Summer of Cusack.
Yeah. And then we just run all down the list, man. Those are some good movies we got coming up.
Absolutely, man. High Fidelity, One Crazy Summer, Gross Point Blank, Hot Tub Time Machine, and then we close out with the classic.
Like, Say Anything might be the most 80s shit on that list, honestly.
Oh, my God. Well, I mean, it's definitely the most with One Crazy Summer, a very close second. Because, I mean, come on, man. Bobcat Goldthwait and the little-known Murray brother.
Come on. In your eyes, the light, the sign, your eyes.
Yeah, you went on
Like
that
the
one.
trench coat outside of the window with the boombox over the head. Is there a more iconic romantic comedy shot from the 80s?
Absolutely
Like
not.
shot.
I
Now,
think
there might be
no.
better romantic comedies in the 80s, but that shot is like one of the most parodied referenced moments in in the 80s. And as Joe points out, Joe Compton will be joining us
For
in the
gross,
middle of the Sunday Sack for Gross Point Blank. So
and that's going to be awesome. But I will say this: for one crazy summer, we get the who's who. I mean, we've got what the hell? Curtis Armstrong, aka Booger, okay,
right.
as Ack. We get Bobcat Goldthwait as Egg. I can't remember the guy that played his brother, but he's in that and he's pretty cool. Joel Murray, Bill Murray's baby brother. We get who are you? What do you want to do with your life?
That really might be like the all-star team of the 1980s.
Oh, absolutely. Mark Metcalf, Eddie Hickey, John Cuse. Oh my, Demi Moore, Billy Bird. Oh, the grandmother that charges her grandson rent. Oh my God. The Summer Sack is going to be epic. It truly
Absolutely.
is.
Well, hey man, we got to get you out the door for your lesson here. So
I gotta go continue to learn how to play the bass.
that's right. Well, hey man, it was a good time.
It's always
and we will see you guys again real soon. For the Plotaholics, I'm Shane Wilson.
I'm Bryan Tan.
And we'll see you around. Take a trip with us to Nilbog. It's not to drink the goo.
Oh my God.
To the Matrix. I will send a phone for you. Cause every hole, every hole gets filled somehow with whiskey, wine, or blue milk. Just don't cut me off right now with a Plotaholics, a breakfast club of two with a Plotaholics, ripping plots apart for you.